Who the hell is Pete Googleite? Apparently, he's the all-time scoring leader for the Giants.
Pete Ogilite?
Googleack. Apparently, probably some
Googleack.
kicker. Probably some kicker.
Well, yeah, more than likely. All-time scorer. I think most all-time scorers for teams are kickers,
Mm-hmm.
just because they have so many opportunities. Well, I'm curious now. Oh, that reminds me. I gotta find a tweet so we could talk about it because it made me laugh, and not because it was anything. I had to have liked it.
Oh, my face went away. I'm back.
It didn't go away on my side.
No, it just
Come on, do this. Control.
Mhm.
Uh, I didn't save that at all. I swore I would have liked that. Dang it! I gotta do a search. And we're streaming because there's so many people.
Oh my god. I don't know why I have this. I have the all-time leading wide receiver in history numbers up. And of course it's Jerry Rice, but it's just by how far he is ahead of everyone.
Jerry Rice's? Oh yeah,
The closest person in yards is Larry Fitzgerald. He had a 16-year career. He's 5,000 yards behind him. He's number two.
that's a long way.
God, that's just. We go to receptions. Wow. Larry was close on receptions.
Was he really? Like how
Jer-
close?
which is even crazier now that I think about it. Larry Fitzgerald had 1,432 career receptions. Jerry had 1,549 career receptions. He was 117 away from uh from Jerry. But like I said, he was 5,000 yards away. So in those 100 catches, he had is 5,000 more
50 yards a
yards.
reception.
That's ridiculous.
Agreed. Agreed. Uh,
and for a time where the wide receivers are really it, quarterbacks are doing well. There's no one. The closest person on this list, that the active person, is DeAndre Hopkins. On the receiving list, on the yards list, I gotta see receiving yards. Who's the closest one active? I guess Julio Jones is technically still active.
he played this last season.
He did. He did. He's at 13,000 yards. DeAndre Hopkins is at 12,000 yards. These I find it crazy because we throw more than anything now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Running backs numbers are going down, way down, and quarterbacks numbers are going way up. But there are no number one receivers anymore that are really even close. Travis Kelsey's in the top 50.
Well, how long did Jerry
Mike
Rice play
Evans,
for? He played from '86 to win.
85 to 2004.
So
So
19
19
seasons
years.
or 19 years,
19
like 20
seasons.
seasons, probably, right?
Yep.
Uh, nobody's doing that.
No,
And
DeAndre Hopkins has 10 seasons.
and if you take Jerry Rice's numbers from the 49ers and then you take Jerry Rice's numbers from the Raiders, it's like two careers,
Two careers.
right?
I saw something that said that he has like 5,000 yards or some crazy amount of yards after the age of 40.
Yeah.
The next closest person to him had they only had like 60 yards total. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like over the age of 40, he had another stellar career. While the average wide receiver at 40 is 60 yards. It's something stupid like that.
Yeah, it's okay. So maybe not after going to the Raiders, but there's some delineation where you could say he had one career maybe before 30 and one career after 30
Yeah. Is it?
because he played to
It's
42. Let's say if we went 23 to 30, You have uh, 24, 34, 37. Just guess, just kind of loosely estimating 37, 47, 51, 61, 66, 78, 10,000 yards receiving before the age of 30, roughly.
Mhm.
And then, Jesus, he had 1503 at the age of 31, 1499 at the age of 32, and 1848 at the age of 33.
1848 with
1848.
only 122 receptions.
He averaged 115 a game, which is bonkers. Banana cuckoo bonkers. That is so many yards. Yards per reception. But that's not even his highest yards per reception. He averaged 15.1, but then he in 1988 he averaged 20 yards per reception.
Stupid numbers.
Yes.
Like,
And only had
like,
64 receptions.
if you want to talk about longevity, he's got longevity. But if you wanted to just take his best 10 years and compare it to anyone else's best 10 years,
Yeah.
he's got to be better than them at that too.
Yeah, he's got 6 years where he leads the league in receiving, and the lowest yardage total out of that was 1483.
Yeah. Always played 16 games except for a year he got hurt.
Yeah, only played 2, and then yeah, like even in
At 35.
yeah, but even at 42, he played 17 games. Only started 14 of them, but he still played 17 games.
Mm-hmm.
Still had almost 500 yards receiving at the age of 42.
Wait. Did he play 17 games because he got traded after a bye week? They only played 16 games.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's what happened.
That's ridiculous. He was like, I'll play.
Yeah. Yep. He got traded before Oakland's bye and after Seattle's.
This man was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I just had his numbers up there, and every time I see him, what's crazy is I don't know if he's getting the love with the new generation that he possibly should get.
Mm-mm.
Like, just his numbers are crazy.
Yeah.
And if you watched him play, he was as good as advertised.
Yeah. And could you imagine if he played now?
Oh, forget it.
This was back in the day when the DB would like punch you in the face when the ball was coming.
I would look at highlights from Jerry Rice and wonder how he got so wide open.
Yeah.
Like he was almost always wide open. And not like by a little either. Like he just like, oh, there he is. There's Jerry across the middle of the field for a 70-yard ball, and no one's catching him. He had three touchdowns in the Super Bowl? It's just
that sounds right. Yeah.
It's just his numbers. You talk about unbeatable records. It's probably his.
Yes. Now I love Randy Moss.
Yep.
But and I understand wanting to argue that Randy Moss is the best receiver ever. I just don't understand how you can like.
Randy can't.
Yeah.
I don't know how Randy could argue that.
Yeah.
Well, like, I will say this. Randy made it look more effortless playing the wide receiver position than anyone I've ever seen play.
Sure.
That's the thing. And that's to me is what I feel like is my knock against Randy. He made it look so easy, it didn't look like he was trying. Like I would have, how he might have been giving it his all, but it just looked like he left something out on the table. He left some out on the field. Like you're like, could you have played a little harder? Maybe. I don't know.
It's funny,
but
like
it looks like.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, but it looks like you're not trying. Like you didn't even sweat after this game. You're just gonna go from the game back in your car. You didn't even take a shower because you didn't get that sweaty.
People used to say that same stuff about like Ken Griffey Jr. in his prime. Like if he played center field, it's like He's not even trying out there. Well, he doesn't have to run full sprint because he got the best jump in the world on a fly ball. Like if he has to run, he does. He like I don't I never understood that. Like oh he should be sweating more to be good. Like well okay.
It make it look difficult. Like if even like you know what I'm saying, even if you could lift the same weight, like let's say you had 10-pound weights and you had a 5-pound weights, right?
Mhm.
There's a way to make it look like you're struggling. Like do it fast. Like, oh, really be strenuous at it. But no, it just did look like you said, Ken Griffey Jr. is the perfect example. He made everything he did look effortless. But I never felt like he left something out on the table. Like I never felt like he wasn't giving it his all, even though he made it look easy. Like sometimes not Reggie, Randy, it just looked like he just wasn't trying hard enough out there. Like this, I don't
I
know,
don't know.
but it's hard to say that. It could be just the fact that he made it look so easy
Mhm.
that I say that.
I think you're yeah I think that's probably what it is.
I love Randy Moss,
Mhm.
but I'm just like, could he have been better? That's the
But he was
question, the
amazing.
eye
Right?
test.
Like
He was amazing. He was amazing, and I think that's what people said. I think that's where the comparison between him and Rice comes from, because people look at him like he probably should have been the best wide receiver we've ever seen, right?
see now
But
now I gotta pull up the
he's
comparison to Randy Moss because I guarantee I think the only difference is ultimately length of career. It's got to be right because Randy Moss didn't
he already had a 2,000-yard season, so
almost never
he
had
didn't get
2,000.
2,000. I thought it was 2,000, like 22 touchdowns in that.
No receivers ever had 2,000 yards receiving this season. He was
Yeah, he never even had a 1,800-yard receive season. He did have 23 touchdowns.
so Jerry Rice. Oh my God, how many?
23
Oh, okay, I thought he
touchdowns in
said
that
33 at first. I was like,
2007.
what?
No.
So Jerry Rice does have almost 100 more games on Randy Moss
Mm-hmm.
and 7,000 more yards,
Yes.
7,600 more yards. 7,600 divided by 100 is 76 yards a game, roughly. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it could have happened. He's only Jerry Rice only has 41 more only 41, only 41 more touchdowns than Randy Moss and 100 more games. Not even 100 games. I'm sorry, 100 games is wrong because it's if I'm going to do math on it, like oh, it's only 76 yards a game. He was actually
Randy at
85 games more.
Randy's last year, his last full year with the New England Patriots,
Mm-hmm.
it was 2009.
Mm-hmm.
He played 16 games. He was 32 years old. He had 1,264 yards. He never eclipsed close to 1,000 after that. Was really pretty much his last year. At 32, Jerry Rice had 1,500 yards,
Yeah.
13 touchdowns, and then at 33 had 1,848.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like you have to compare them for the time that they had. Like I said, if you want to compare his years with Randy's, he probably still has them.
Yeah.
Like Randy's 10 and Jerry's 10, you got to give it to Randy. I mean Jerry.
Yeah. Yeah.
In those first 10 years, his rookie season was the lowest amount of yards he had at 927. That's stupid.
Yeah, he almost had he almost had 1,000 yards, and he wasn't even a starter for that season.
just well, listen, like he is Jerry is my all-time favorite. Larry is great. Larry put the work in. He was very consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad he's number 2. If there's a number 2 to be had, it should be him. And I said that, and it's the reason why we did this is because the reason why I was looking at this is because of the Hall of Fame. If we want to bring that into the Hall of Fame, because Andre Johnson got in.
He did get in.
So I was just kind of looking at his numbers to see where he fits in there. And did Reggie get in this time? Reggie Wayne?
No, Andre Johnson
No.
was the only receiver to get it.
Okay. Because like I said, you got to look at the list and see what the cutoff line is. Um, right now it's really low. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I think the cutoff line for wide receivers, they just apparently let anyone in that thing.
But that's not true. For the longest time,
There was a log jam.
there was no receivers that were getting in.
Yeah. Uh, and I guess some of these people are because they're the older people and when they were playing, because I keep going down here and I'm just like, oh, these guys, who is Elroy Hirsch, who played from 1946 to 1957 with 7,000 yards on here when Allen Robinson is right beneath him.
Hmm. What? That's like Steve Smith Sr. isn't even in the Hall of Fame,
No.
and he's number 8 all time receiving.
Yep.
He wasn't even a finalist this year.
Wasn't this his first year or second year? Was no?
Did he never officially retire or something like that? Something silly.
I heard him say that he never put his paperwork in or something.
I don't know. But I mean,
But I
his
don't think
last
that
season was
matters. I really don't think.
2016. He's
Yeah, I don't think that matters if you never put your paperwork in. They don't care.
Reggie Wayne was a
Andre
finalist.
Johnson's first season was last season was 2016 as well. So
Anquan Bolden's on there. Like, he's number 14, which surprises me. Like, I don't remember him being.
when him and Larry Fitzgerald was together, that was a
Yeah,
vicious
but I never
combination.
remembered Anquan Bolden as like this number.
And then he went to
accumulator.
Baltimore and he was pretty good as
Yeah.
well. He had a solid career.
But he's higher in the list than Torrey Holt, who was a finalist.
Yeah, Torrey Holt was on that Greatest Show on Turf. That's those championships they do hold some weight.
Yeah. I mean,
That to me could be why Steve Smith isn't there. Like,
yeah, but Randy Moss never won a championship.
yeah,
Tony
he did
Gonzalez never
not.
won a championship. Tim Brown never won a championship.
Yeah, but Tony Gonzalez is retired as the best tight end that ever
Andre
played
Johnson
the game.
definitely never won a championship.
He definitely didn't win a championship.
I
He did.
don't know
You're
about
right.
James Lofton. I know Chris Carter did, and he played on the Vikings.
And the Eagles, sucker.
Exactly, right? I don't think Super Bowl championship has as much
Matters
weight
with
for a wide receiver.
wide
as,
receiver.
Like, quarterback does. But like I'm looking at this list here. As I look, the top 30. We did this with running backs last time, but like, I think Jason Witten's a Hall of Famer because he played tight end, right?
Yeah.
Antonio Gates is a Hall of Famer. He's at 31, but he's at tight end.
Mhm.
But Derek Mason, not a Hall of Famer. Heinz Ward, not a Hall of Famer, no matter how much I like Heinz Ward. Jimmy Smith, not a Hall of Famer. Antonio Brown, not a Hall of Famer. Brandon Marshall's not
Mike
a Hall of Famer.
Irvin is down there.
Yeah.
Michael Irvin is 30th on that list. He's in the hall.
Yeah, he is. And that's because that's the Cowboys, I think. And he was really good too, but I mean, pure number accumulation wise. Oh, we haven't even talked about the Super Bowl yet, but we should talk about this because this is a good segue. Michael Irvin being in the Hall of Fame. Now, let me show you. Oh, let me see if I had this tweet up. Oh, that's a picture of me. That's not a tweet. Where's it at?
It's my business headshot.
Dang it. Oh, there it is. Back in 2019, somebody said something like, Patrick Mahomes has already thrown 33% of the touchdowns that Troy Aikman has thrown in his career. And this is 2019, right? So that's the first. That was like Patrick Mahomes, what, second full year? Because he threw 50 his first year, right? So he didn't play his rookie year. And Troy Aikman chirps back with, talk to me when he's won 33% of my Super Bowl titles.
Oh, somebody had that pinned?
Yep. Patrick Mahomes has now thrown 132% of Troy Aikman's passing touchdowns and won 100% of his Super Bowl champions in 58% of his career games.
Oh, listen, I'm going to tell you this. I have said this, and all my friends who are Cowboys fans know that I've said this. I think his whole Hall of Fame career is overrated. I'm going to say it. I think his Hall of Fame career is overrated.
Yeah, if you look at from a pure number accumulation standpoint, I'm going to have to agree. But I think there's context that needs to
To
exist there.
his defense, his running back is the all-time leading
Oh yeah.
running rusher of all times.
Yep.
So when we talk about things like Lamar Jackson and why they went away from the run, we can't say the same for the Cowboys. They never went
Oh,
away
they
from
did.
the
It was a
run,
different
and
time.
they should, and they shouldn't have.
It, yeah, I mean, why would you though? Like, I mean, it was a totally
Exactly.
different sort of NFL back then.
But I don't even know. I know we hear that, but what works, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have the running back that can do this, why ever shy away from him?
No, I know.
Why ever take the ball from Saquon Barkley's hands when he's only got 10 carries on the game? And that's just like I just don't think that's smart. Like if you truly believe that the best player on your offense is your running back, then feed him the ball.
I agree.
Find ways to get him the ball. Now, of course, now the Ravens are different. They just run a different style of game because the best player isn't their running back. He is their
Mm-hmm.
quarterback. But I'm just mean in general. I think we put too much on you got to pass the ball. This is the old school way is running. No, your best player is your running back. You run the ball.
I agree.
That's simple.
Always.
Derrick Henry needs 20 carries a game.
They don't.
Just,
Nobody does that anymore, right?
nope.
Nobody will do that, and that's the way it'll be. Uh, yeah. Because, and here's the trap. I think it's the biggest trap in all of sports because I think it happened in basketball too, when Michael Jordan was Michael Jordan. Right?
Dominating.
Everyone's like, we need to get our own Michael Jordan. We need to get a Michael Jordan. The only way to counter Michael Jordan is get another Michael Jordan. And what people would do is, and then they would unfairly label any new and upcoming player the next Jordan. Like remember,
Mm-hmm.
even like Harold Miner
Harold
was called
Miner.
Baby Jordan,
They
and that man
never earned that
could
term.
not cast a one millionth of the shadow that Michael Jordan could on the basketball court in general.
Correct.
Right? But that's what happened. And now that's what happened. That's what's in football, right? So Tom Brady was Tom Brady. And everybody's like, we just got to get another. We can't win unless we have a Tom Brady.
Yep.
Well, you can't. There's only one Tom Brady. That's just how it works. There's only one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's like, well, now Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, which is insane. But everyone's like, well, that's the only way you can win is if you have a Patrick Mahomes. Well,
Yeah.
that's how Patrick Mahomes wins because he's Patrick Mahomes. You got to find the right way to win. You're not going to get another Patrick Mahomes.
No. And that's not set in stone that that's the only way to win.
I know.
Like that's set in stone. It's been shown, history has proven you can win other ways, right? You can just put a better team out there.
Yep.
And I'm glad we talk about that game. I still think San Francisco 49ers is a better team than the Chiefs. And they play another time, they may win. Greenlaw doesn't get hurt, they may win.
Oh.
Like there are so many different things. Like the Super Bowl is such a crazy thing because it is one game,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it does not actually determine who the better team is. It just says who is the best team that day.
Yeah.
And any day of the week, I'm really gonna pick Pat Mahomes. If I have to in the league right now, if I've got to win one game, I'm gonna pick Pat Mahomes. So
I don't know how you can.
like I said, I don't know how you can either. But there was so many ways why he could. Like there was, you're like, there's no way he can do it with those wide receivers. They're not that good,
Yeah.
right? His running back is good, but he's not great. It's like, oh man, Kelsey's not having a great. We've seen him have better seasons. This led to me saying, nah, 49ers got enough to get him. And Pat Mahomes told Harland, you're stupid. He didn't have to be so personal with it.
Uh-huh. He sure did say, Harland, you're stupid. I think the 49ers had that game won until that punt ricocheted off a dude's foot.
Such
And
a bad beat.
dude
And he doesn't dive on the ball.
Dude tried to scoop instead of dive. Right? Now, there's something we have to talk about that happened on because of that, not because of that punt, but that is the craziest coincidence regarding that punt. Now, Kyle Shanahan, before he was the 49ers head coach, he was the Atlanta Falcons offensive
Yeah,
coordinator.
sorry.
And he was the Atlanta Falcons offensive coordinator during the Super Bowl, in
Hmm.
which they were up 28-3
Yeah,
and lost.
he tries to forget that.
Now, the punt bounced off of the foot of number 28. And the punt returner, number 3, could not scoop it up. Like how does that exist as a thing? 28-3 off of 28's foot to number 3, and he couldn't get it. Like, how's that a thing? And that was the turning point in that game.
Hmm. They still should have won after
Oh,
that.
I agree, but
Just like the Atlanta Falcons still should have won after all the nonsense that happened.
I understand.
That really was the turning point.
So
Man,
I saw this too. When Dre Greenlaw went down, Orrin Brooks is the guy that filled in for him. Orrin Brooks in coverage had 9
oh, I
targets,
saw that.
allowed 9 catches, 1 touchdown. Patrick Mahomes had
A
a
passer rating of like
134.7 passer rating,
130.
and he only had a
Yeah,
32.1 PFF coverage grade. I mean that's a big game changer there too. And
that's a huge game changer.
and
Huge.
Greenlaw is the ultimate no contact injury. He was on the sideline getting ready to go in.
Yes, he did like he was pumped up to go in, jumped up, landed. He didn't even really jump. It wasn't, I wouldn't even call it a jump. It was like that skip before you
Yeah,
run.
like I'm moving now. Yeah, like
Exactly.
oh, it was so. When that happened, it's just like, oh no! And it's like
You
how?
knew exactly what had
Oh
happened when you
god, yeah,
seen
you
it.
know, like oh he's not
You
even
knew
moving.
exactly.
You know he's down for the count, and you're just like,
Hmm.
oh
A lot of crying was going on in the back, probably. Well deserved. You should cry when
yeah,
that happens. Because first off, if the fumble of McCaffrey,
crazy.
th- crazy. They were marching down the field. That was honestly their best drive of the game, probably. Like,
That
and
first
they
one,
made it look
yeah, the
effortless.
second one,
They made it look effortless.
yeah.
And then they fumbled, and then they couldn't find out, couldn't do it.
Did do you know what Patrick Starr said about that fumble?
Oh no! What did the best commentator of the night talk about?
You've got to secure the ball, SpongeBob. So Patrick Starr,
Wise.
you got to hold on to that ball. Yep,
I'm go- I want to say that I believe that that is probably the perfect way to watch football.
it might
Like
be.
I, I remember I tried to watch, and I'm kind of glad that the NFL is doing things like that. Remember they did the Toy Story one?
Yes.
I actually tried to watch that. It was a little bit behind for me, so it was difficult to watch it. I think it got better as the broadcast went on, but when I was watching it, I was like, this is too buggy. This is too slow. But I like that the NFL is trying to get a younger
Yeah,
audience.
I'm all for that. Yeah, the Toy Story one, I didn't watch it, but I knew it wasn't a ringing success because they only showed one clip ever from the whole entire broadcast. It was
it
always the same, like Buzz Lightyear
wasn't
running
very
to the
good.
left to catch a pass or something like that, and that was it. That's the
It,
only time they showed a highlight.
yeah, it was. I don't know. I was upset. Not upset. I was interested about the tech behind it,
Mm-hmm.
but it just didn't pan out properly. But I'm glad that they still tried. They've been doing Nickelodeon touchdowns like all the time, the GAC zone or whatever they
Mm-hmm.
calling it. I like it, but seeing Dora Explorer explain penalties
Yeah.
was amazing to me.
Yeah.
I was like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Because trying to explain them to my kids wasn't working.
No.
It
Well, you
was
know,
not
Nickelodeon
working.
has a weekly NFL recap show, like on
What?
Wednesdays. Yeah, on Wednesdays it's Nate Burleson and like kids.
Nate was in the booth with the
Yeah,
SpongeBob.
Yeah, so it's them, and but they do like during the football season they do weekly recaps of all the games, and like you get slide when you score touchdowns and stuff like that, and they show interesting. Do you remember what was the Ahmad Rashad NBA show?
NBA inside stuff.
Yes, it's it's like Inside Stuff, but like pulled back, like even like a lower, like a more introductory level. Because I always thought Inside Stuff was just like
It was
it,
great.
but it was also what was the baseball one with oh uh inside This Week in Baseball.
Okay.
Do you remember? And that was on Saturdays, and it was
Yes.
always the same thing. But it was what's his face? I can't remember. He passed away a while ago. Uh, but he was like the voice of This Week in Baseball for like 30 years or whatever. But it was the same like sort of. But this was like pre-internet and everybody's got cable and ESPN recap shows like
Yep.
this. That's the only way I could see highlights every week.
Watch what happened. Yeah.
You know.
And they showcased your favorite players in a fun way.
Mm-hmm.
It was I loved inside stuff.
Inside Stuff was awesome. Yeah. Uh, and it's how I learned about Ahmad Rashad, and it's like, oh, he was a receiver for the Vikings, so he stinks. But he's also the husband to
Oh,
Felicia Rashad, who was
yes.
uh,
X now. But
oh,
yes.
did they get divorced?
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't bringing that Inside Stuff money in anymore.
No, no. Nope.
Uh,
Did he make enough money to get the NFL retirement? Did he last long enough?
oh, I hope so. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, Ahmad Rashad, isn't he?
Is he
I don't know. We have to find out. Is
Hall of Famer?
Ahmad Rashad still married was the first autocomplete Hall of Famer. Yeah. Oh no, the University of Oregon Athletics Hall of Fame.
He was a 4-time Pro Bowler though.
He was a good receiver. He was in the era of like, you know,
He had two. He had 2,000-yard seasons.
yeah,
Solid.
yeah. Like you think about like when I was oh boy this that Jerry Rice, Steve Largent was always a
Uh-huh.
wide receiver that would get thrown around. I guarantee he's a Hall of Famer. I
Yep.
guarantee if you looked at Steve Largent's numbers compared to any wide receiver in the last 30 years, it's probably an embarrassment.
No, it's not.
It's
I
not.
got it right. He's 19th all
Is
time.
he really?
Andre Reed is above him, and Jason Witten is below him.
Wow, that shows you how ignorant I am. I just remember Steve Largent because he was on the Seahawks and they had
Yep.
back in the day, like Seahawks jerseys are fine now, but those old ones with that weird bird head
The
on the
weird
side and the colors, man, I love those. I mean, shoot, I'm looking at his numbers. He played in, we'll call it the dead ball era of football because they didn't throw it, but he had 1,100 yards in 1978, 1,200 in 1979, and then 1,200 again in
Four,
1985.
that's 14 games, right?
15.
That's
Yeah,
not even 16.
15
15.
games. Yeah, 14 was up until 77. And then it looks like, yeah, after that, 16, 15, 16, 16. Strike short in year of 8. He didn't win the MVP that year because the kicker won it. And then,
Gotta love when those kickers win
man,
MVPs.
never mind. I take that back. That was Steve Largent's slander. I always pictured him as just like a token, the token
Uh-huh.
white receiver. Remember, like
Yep.
Don.
That they got to bring him
Everybody
around. They
always
got-
loved Don Beebe or Jason Sehorn, the
Listen,
the
listen.
white
I will. I
DB
will
for-
not. I will not let you besmirch Jason Sehorn's name. He's a legend. He's a legend. Man, that was when I will be honest with you. That is when I fell in love with the Giants. Was those late 90s, early 2000s teams. Oh my God. Like I was 17, 18. That's when I really still fell in love. Like after they'd won Super Bowls. I've seen them play one Super Bowls. That I was young, but those 90s when Strahan was really getting there and Sehorn, Jesse Armstead. Those are the guys I like watching. And
Jason
Sehorn was a
Sehorn
monster. Absolute monster. A shut down corner, I would say.
was married to Angie Harmon at one point.
He was
15
doing good for
years.
himself. He was doing good for himself.
And then before that, he was married to Whitney Casey, who I didn't know who that was, but I just remember like Jason Sehorn, like married above his pay grade.
He got injured and never came back really.
Yeah.
He lost a step for a DB, and then he just started getting tested, and then it was like, all right, see on, sorry. But yeah, he's
But
great.
but
Great.
he's funny because he plays the position, and because he's white, he gets crazy unnecessarily love, right? Like if he was a Chicago Bear, holy shit, they would have built statues to that man. They still talk about Tom Waddle. Uh, Tom Waddle, he was like their best receiver for like 2 years in the late '80s. He's a radio guy now, but before he's a radio guy, holy shit, man, Tom Waddle. And then like the Bears' best receiver ever was Johnny Morris from the '70s, and he was like a sports catcher. He's a white receiver too, and everybody just loves Johnny Morris. And then like there was a year they had an undrafted white receiver. His name was Dane Sanzenbacher from Ohio State, and they're like, "Oh,
Oh no.
Sanzenbacher!" He made a play one time in a preseason game. Everybody was like ready to build a statue for him. Like,
Oh no.
yeah, it's a very Chicago sports thing. Uh, yeah. But Steve
It
Largent,
was
I apologize if you ever hear this. Please know, he's still alive, right? I hope so.
you don't kill the man, just say yes.
He is. There's no die down here date. He is almost 70. I didn't realize that.
Hmm.
There you go.
He's out there doing it.
Yeah, he's yeah, he is out there doing it. Oh,
Still doing it. Oh man. Yeah, you see it, guys. We're not really talking about the game as much as we probably should.
I did not
'cause
care about this game at
I didn't
all.
care. Did not care.
All I know is that Patrick Mahomes is the best player on the planet, and it's
Yes.
so it and I think Lamar Jackson is the best football player on the planet. I just think but Patrick Mahomes has like a level above him, where it's just like
It's it's scary. It reminds you of when you was watching, like me, when at the times when I was watching Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, those guys, when I was watching them going, oh, he's going to win. He's going to figure a way to beat you. And the only person that could beat them was the other version of them, which would be, and it never really happened.
Yeah.
Those guys didn't really beat Tom like they should have.
No.
But there is no kryptonite for Mahomes now.
Right now there definitely is not. No.
Do you remember when they got rid of Tyreek Hill and we all thought they were done?
Like, why would you get rid of Tyreek Hill? Yeah, like
That
I didn't understand that.
it's been 2 seasons without him and two
Two Super Bowls.
championships.
Yeah.
Two Super Bowl. And he did it with Rasheed Rice. How does good does it feel to be a rookie to go to Kansas City?
Yeah.
Wherever you get drafted, you're going to be the 32nd pick of this year's draft. You got to be happy, ecstatic to go to that team.
Yes.
You have to be.
I always thought you used to think the same thing about the Bulls. Like they get the last
Yes.
they get the last pick of the draft, but like whoever that last pick is got to be like, all right, I get to go play with
What is his name? Myers. What's Myers?
Oh shoot. Yeah.
I think he's now still with the team. He does stuff.
Oh,
I think his name.
if there's a fault of a Jerry Reinsdorf team, and there's many, it's they do not know when to. They're very 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 loyal to
Scott Williams or Sean. Was it Sean Williams? I think he just he's commentating.
Oh no, that's what is that guy's name? I can't remember. It's not. No, I know who you're talking about though, and I can't remember what his name is. But yes, he does the color commentary for the Bulls.
Yes.
I mean, they even had John Paxson as their damn president of basketball operations for way too long, long enough to destroy the franchise a little bit more. Whatever, it don't matter. There's nothing. I don't even know what beats Mahomes. Like bad luck, it'd be about it. It's got to be.
He doesn't. Where is he? Where is bad luck struck them?
It's well, I mean, they didn't win. They didn't win the Super Bowl 3 years ago.
Yeah, I
Something happened
guess.
there,
You can't even, they
and they may have won it 4 years ago, but they didn't win it 5 years ago.
they definitely won it four
But they
years
didn't win it
ago.
5 years ago. They lost
Mm.
to somebody who's. It doesn't even matter. I don't remember who they lost to.
Wait, didn't they lose to Tom Brady?
Yep, Tampa Bay.
so that's his kryptonite is gone
Tom
now.
Brady, yeah. So okay, they didn't win it 3 years ago because Joe Burrow beat him in overtime with a kick. Joe Burrow didn't kick it, but
Yes.
the Bengals did.
Mhm.
They lost 4 years ago to Tom Brady because, and they were trying to go back to back because they won it 5 years ago. They've won 3 out of 5, and the 2 times they didn't make it, they lost the Super Bowl to Tom Brady, and
Uh-huh.
it took Joe Burrow with an overtime kick. Not kicked by Joe Burrow, but kicked by whoever.
I'm pretty sure Joe would have kicked it too.
Oh, I'm sure he would. That's the cool thing about Joe Burrow. He'll do anything.
He'll do whatever it takes to win, except for play 16 games.
Play 16
if you
games,
ask
yeah.
him to play
Not get hurt.
16 games, he can't play 16 games. He would love to.
Yeah,
He just
I'll
can't.
do it.
He
I'll do it
can't.
every day,
Nah,
but I can't.
yeah, I can't.
So Mahomes, and then 6 years ago, he didn't make the Super Bowl, but he did throw 50 touchdowns in the season.
Yeah.
Like how?
And wait, this is the thing that's crazy to me. I see that Vegas has the San Francisco 49ers as clear favorites.
I don't understand
Why?
that either. They just
Why?
lost. They were favorites the
do-
moment the game was over.
Do they know that Mahomes is not going to play next season?
They have to. Like, I don't know.
But let's be honest. Why wouldn't you just put your money on whatever the money is right now, whatever futures bet it is, whatever the odds is? Would it be smart to just put money back on him,
Yes,
on the Kansas City Chiefs? You're about to check the odds right now.
I am.
Let's see. You're like, wait a minute, it might be.
49ers favored over Chiefs despite Kansas City's latest victory over San Francisco. The odds. San Francisco
Who's
is
go-
plus 550 right now. Kansas City's plus 650. So you put $100 right down right now for Kansas City, and then you'll get $650 in roughly a year.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. I don't know who else. Like, boy, and this was the year. It's like, oh, the Chiefs just aren't the Chiefs. They just aren't as good. And this was supposed to be a year that they shouldn't have won.
They said it last year. He said it at the parade last year. They said this was our rebuilding year. That's what he said at that last year.
Yeah.
And it was like, I
Because
don't
they
know.
traded
I don't
up-
even
they
know what
traded
rebuilding
Tyreek.
is.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't even know what rebuilding is.
See, now here's the thing. Now I need him to know what rebuilding is.
Does it? He doesn't.
He'll never know.
Why would he?
He'll never know.
What would you consider rebuilding? Like rebuilding to any other team is you don't have your quarterback. I mean your wide receivers. Your offensive line isn't the best offensive line you've had. Your defense might be a little shaky. You don't that's been the last 2 years.
Yeah.
They haven't had the wide receivers that they needed.
Yeah.
Like they're honestly rebuilding and still winning championships.
Yeah, they sure are.
So when their team is built again and your quarterback is just hitting 30, maybe
that's another thing too.
it's another dynasty.
Oh, they're definitely a dynasty.
Yeah, but another one, like when the team actually finally gets completed, right?
Yeah.
This is like the putties getting beat by the Power Rangers. They haven't even put together the Megazord. They're just getting when the Megazord is put together, forget about it. You don't stand the chance.
Mahomes is 28.
That's what I'm saying. He's not even at technically peak quarterback position play.
No.
You sound so sad.
Well, the only saving grace for both of us is that he plays in the AFC.
Yes. And if we get there, we have a chance.
Yes,
All we gotta do is get there.
any team can win on any given game.
Right.
Even the worst teams can find ways to beat the best teams. It happens.
It happens. We just gotta get there, and we don't have to see him. We don't have to see him to get there.
No, you don't have to go
It's those.
from the NFC. You don't have to go through Patrick Mahomes. I saw somebody tweet today because there's so many people that just hate Patrick Mahomes, right? Mostly because he's good, right?
Yeah, how about that on TV?
And somebody had tweeted, I saw what was it? It was people are talking about Patrick Mahomes being the greatest, but he only plays in the AFC. Go switch teams and run through the NFC and prove for that. And so he's like, what? He has to go through Baker Mayfield and Jared Goff to prove going through Allen and Jackson and Burrow and Herbert and all the. Literally, the AFC is so stacked with quarterbacks. It's ridiculous.
Lamar, Burrow, Herbert, Allen. Like that's the top four right there.
And then
two if you want to throw
right?
two in there.
Like all these guys.
They just got Aaron Rodgers in that.
CJ Stroud. If Stroud turns into a legitimate NFL perennial Pro Bowler, holy shit, right? Like that whole AFC is just stacked still.
Yeah, no. We're just happy that we don't have to see him until the Super Bowl.
Thank God.
Exactly. That I don't know what's going to stop them. Maybe Andy Reid deciding he doesn't want to play, he doesn't want to coach anymore. And it could happen.
Patrick Mahomes Sr. and or what's his name? Jackson Mahomes.
Is Jackson Mahomes?
Those are the only two things that can stop Patrick Mahomes. Yes.
Oh, I don't know if they can.
They tried.
They keep trying. They try every single year.
Yes, they do.
they try, and every single year he just shrugs it off. And I'm gonna tell you what, that is why I can't hate Patrick Mahomes. I don't hate him either. It's because of his family. I look at that family and I go, I feel for you, Patrick. I feel for you. So that is the reason why I cannot hate on him, because in spite of everything that going on around him, he just plays football.
Yeah. At the highest level humanly possible.
At the highest level. Makes it look easy.
If
he had a team, like if he had the wide receivers that some other people had, his numbers, that's 50 touchdowns, he'd do it every year. Yeah. He would do it every year.
So let's say Kansas City pulls the Bill Belichick move and is able to bring in like a Randy Moss. Well, obviously you can't bring in a Randy Moss, but let's say there's a receiver out there that has worn his welcome out.
DeAndre Hopkins,
D-Hop, right? So, DeAndre Hopkins,
Mike Evans.
Like
he can get players. They're out there.
Mike Evans is a free agent though, right? So he'll come. I don't think Kansas City can afford him. But I mean, let's say there's some insane trade that can be pulled off, and they get that legitimate number one wide receiver. They still have Kelsey on the tail end of his career, but he's still very good and very productive. And then you have a guy like Rashee Rice, who might not be a number one, or maybe will grow into a number one, but would be a great number two to a. Like if that happens, I don't know how he doesn't throw 50 touchdowns. I think that's the biggest thing. Like he didn't have a top of the lineup roster, receiver core receiver. So guys like Valdez Scantling and Kadarius Toney
had to play.
Like those guys are immediately bubble up the roster and are playing positions or levels of importance that they shouldn't. You get number one, and everybody kind of nestles into a spot that's supposed to be appropriate, and you have a guy that could play the quarterback position like no other can. Shit.
Mahomes said, Rasheen Rice, he said he just got better every week.
Yeah.
Those first opening weeks, he was still young, and he trusts him, and that's really
it's all that matters. Shoot,
it's all that matters. And
if you're a receiver and you have that dude's trust, you're like a made man. Like you got you got to be untouchable in some way. And like if he's willing to trust you, be patient with you, then your career, you're golden. How can you not be golden?
Yeah. 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 It's, oh my God. Oh, I don't hate them, and that's the thing that so makes me so
Yeah,
upset. I wish I could hate
I
them.
know.
I wish I could. It was so easy. It was so easy to hate the
Oh God,
Patriots.
yeah.
It's just so easy.
It's super easy to hate the Patriots. Just,
It's just not. It's not that It's not that easy.
no,
It's not that
the
easy.
the Patriots always felt like they aligned in the NFL universe like the Yankees. Right? It
Hmm.
is so easy to hate the Yankees.
So
So
easy.
easy to hate the Yankees, and the Patriots kind of fell in that same slot.
But it's kind of, you hate the Yankees because you don't like their fans. And
Oh,
you
that's part of
hate
it.
the
Yeah.
Patriots because you don't like their
Oh,
fans,
that's part
right?
of it. Yeah.
Because, like, for me with the Yankees, those 90s teams, how could you hate a player on that team?
I never liked
How
Jeter.
could you hate Bernie? How can you hate Bernie
Oh, I
Williams?
never hit
How
Barry
can you
Bonds.
hate Jorge Posada? How can you hate Derek
I don't
Jeter?
like
How
Derek
can you
Jeter.
hate
I
Mariano
think Derek
Rivera?
Jeter always had like this air to him, like he felt like he was better than you, and like he didn't
That's
know
just the
me.
look, because he
I
was.
know,
Because he
I know, I'm not as
was.
good as Derek Jeter at anything, but he doesn't have to tell me, and he
He
always
didn't
told
know.
me,
He didn't tell you.
always told
He
me through
just.
the TV. I
It
could
was just
tell.
his face when he smiled. You go,
You
you
son of
think
a
you better
bitch.
than me,
Yeah, you
don't
know
you?
you're better than me. That's the thing. Your hair is so perfect. How the hell you leave gift baskets to all the hot girls that you're boning?
And they
You son of a
and
bitch.
they're happy for those
Yeah,
gift
they're like, no,
baskets.
Jeter, you're the best.
Thanks. That was so nice of you.
Didn't he
Yeah,
date J Lo for a while?
he did it everyone.
God damn him.
He did it everyone. If you went to the list of people he dated, you'd go, "Are you serious?" And then who he settled down with, the model from the Old Spice commercials that was on the horse there
What?
academy. Yes, it's like,
Who did Derek Jeter date? Who are Derek
oh,
Jeter's ex girlfriends? His ex girlfriends include
Mariah Carey,
Adriana
Jessica
Lima,
Alja.
Lara Duta,
That's
Jessica Biel, Vanessa Manillo, Jessica Alba. See, now that's son of a bitch. Davida Guerrera, Tyra Banks, Gabriel Union. Come on, Bridget Hall, Jordana Brewster, Scarlett Joe, ScarJo. No, Rachel Yucatel. I don't know who that is. Joy Enriquez, Mariah Carey, and Minka Kelly. And that's just like that's a list of probably the most popular ones.
yeah,
This is
yeah. There's some New Yorkers going around with gift baskets, just random beautiful women.
gift baskets and 12-year-olds that are really good at shortstop. Uh,
That's what he was giving.
so man, just this list here, the
Mhm.
Jessica Alba, Gabrielle Union, and Scarlett Johansson run. That's legendary right there within itself, right? Like how
Legendary,
the fact that you could pull that.
legendary,
And
legendary.
it's only three of this list of 15.
And he was a great shortstop.
A Hall of Famer, first ballot, almost unanimous.
It's like he just, some people were blessed with it all. But that's, I mean, like, I couldn't hate that team. I couldn't hate any of the players on that team. Even their manager Joe Torre was a nice
Yeah.
guy. Like, you could, like, the only thing you could hate about that team was the fans.
It
They were absolutely
the
obnoxious.
fact that they were always so good. Like the 1 or 2 seasons, you'd be like, "That's a good team." But when it's like every year, it's like what that for me. That's what the Patriots were, right? Like the first Patriots, like, oh, okay, they had a couple years, good for them.
Happy go
And
lucky
then it's just
team.
like the
Yeah.
Patriots, the Patriots, the Patriots. You're like, I'm tired of the Patriots, and it's nothing more than just pure hate. I mean, it's just haterism at its finest.
It's fine.
Yeah,
That's perfectly okay.
and that's where I fear that I'm going to get with Kansas City, but I really like Patrick Mahomes and I really like Andy Reid. It's hard to like hate those guys.
Steve Spagnuolo was the defensive coordinator for the Giants. I can't hate him.
Yeah. And
Without him,
God,
we may not beat Tom
we're going to
Brady.
talk about that. So, like, Dave Tobe is their special teams coordinator, and he was a special teams coordinator for the Bears for like 15 years, and like through all the Lovey Smith years. And when they fired Lovey, he wanted to be the head coach of the Bears, and they said no. We're going to hire this weirdo from Canada instead. And so Dave Tobe has just gone and been the best special teams coordinator in all of football for Kansas City for the last however many years, and has won so many Super Bowls.
But he just became known. Like, Steve Spagnuolo became known as a really good defensive coordinator, and of course, his next job was head coach.
Mm-hmm.
He got a head coach job. He stunk at that, and then
Yeah, it's tough.
he wind up going. He wind up going back to DC, being defensive coordinator, where he's just won championships as a defensive coordinator in the biggest game. Always comes up. I heard Jim Rome say he thinks that Steve Spagnuolo is the best big game defensive coordinator of all time.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that could be recency bias, but I don't see how you can argue against it right now.
2007 ain't that recent when they beat the 18-1
Yeah.
Patriot 18-0
But I mean,
Patriots.
like the recency of this last one, and
This
it's
last
like,
one.
oh, it makes you say stuff like that, and I don't know how you can argue against it. That's the truth. Uh, should Spagnola should get like another opportunity to be a head coach, right? You think?
I don't know if does he want
I
one?
don't know. I think it's tough. Like all those coordinators, and that's why we talked about last week with what's his face, Ben Johnson from the Lions, pulling
Mm-hmm.
out against off the Commanders. The reason those head coaching positions are open is not because of decades of brilliance, and then the people are stepping out at the height of their game and being like, "Well, I just can't coach anymore." Right? Like it just doesn't happen. It's like
Mm-hmm.
unless you're going to Alabama, right? So, I mean, it's not like the Panthers' position was open after a run of 7 consecutive Super Bowls, and there's like, well, I've won so many, I have to give it up, right? Like it just doesn't happen. So you're always going into a terrible position,
Yes.
and being able to turn it around is very difficult, and it's not entirely on you because it depends upon a lot on the team construction.
I think you have to try it.
Yeah.
I think in any situation, you want to go up, and it's the next logical step when you're
Yep.
there. But I think when you get that taste of it, you go, I didn't like this. I think for whatever reason, dealing with owners more than you normally have to deal with, dealing with both sides of the ball when you really only know how to talk to half the team,
Mm-hmm.
right? It becomes a skill that you then have to learn again. And maybe you want to do it. Maybe I really think, like you said, it does take the right place to be in, because some places aren't going to give you the time to grow into learning.
Nobody does
If you've
anymore.
never had the position, yeah, no one does anymore. So, and I think it's safe. I think he feels safe right now. He probably could get a job if he wanted one. And that's always good to know that if I decide I want a job, I think I can get one.
Yeah.
But make good money here, and I like winning championships.
Yeah, it's hard to give up being the defensive coordinator for the best team in football and winning
Yeah.
championships.
And you look good because Pat Mahomes is right there.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine? You just tell your defense, all right, guys, you holding the three because we know he's good. You don't have to stop him.
Yeah.
You don't have to hold them from getting out of field goal range. It allows you to play a different type of defense, right? Because you know if the ball comes back into his hands,
You have a chance.
he'll do.
Yeah.
You got a chance.
And it doesn't
So,
hurt that they had one of the best defenses in football this year, too. And it's the
mhm.
year they absolutely, positively, undoubtedly needed it
Yep.
because the
They
offense
were
was
15th in
not
scoring.
the best. Yeah.
15th in scoring.
Yeah.
Middle of the pack.
Yep.
Like number 2 or 3 in defense, though.
Yeah. It helps.
It definitely
God
does.
damn it. It's just like it's like seeing somebody date Jessica Alba, Gabriel Union, and Scarlett Johansson in their life. You're like, how is that even possible?
How does that happen?
Him? Oh God. All right. Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
it
man.
happened. The San
Mhm.
Francisco's did not beat the Kansas Cities. And
Man, and Kyle Shanahan, oh my God. That man, he's got to win one, or
you
else
think?
it's gonna be bad for him. He's good at his job, very good at his job. He's just got to not face Pat Mahomes. Like he's got to hope that somebody else beats him on that other side.
The problem with Shanahan led teams has always been fourth quarter.
Half quarter adjustments.
Yeah. Like having a lead and not being able to hold on to it or trying to come back. It doesn't happen. He's like the 49ers were not good in the fourth quarter this last year.
So that means he can plan a game plan for the first scripted plays, and then once he has to, like they say in chess, get off the book,
Yeah.
then he's just can't he can't do that adjustments. And that's what. Let me ask you a question. If you are in that situation, you've currently put together an amazing game plan,
Mm-hmm.
right? You go out there, you dominate the first quarter. You go out there, you dominate the second quarter. What do you tell your team at halftime? What do you change it up?
Yeah.
Do
Why would
you
you? Yeah.
why would you? You're just gonna go out there and continue to run what has worked. Now, what can happen is that then you need to change it up at third quarter. It might be too late.
Yeah.
Momentum has already swung the pendulum's going the other direction. How do you switch up what you've been doing? And that's just that's unfortunate because you don't want to change anything. Guys, he went in the Atlanta game and told that team, guys, you're doing great. Keep doing exactly what you're doing. I'm calling the same game I was calling in the second quarter. More of it. And he went in last week and they were up. He said there were some plays we left out there. We can do better. We're just gonna keep running what we're doing. We're gonna keep doing our game. The game that's got us here to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And it just wasn't. He hasn't had to make any halftime adjustments. He's never had to make any.
And in all honesty, if it isn't for the 2 turnovers, they probably win outright. You know, and like we could say, oh, the blocked extra point, right? I guarantee
It didn't make a
Kansas
difference.
City would have scored a touchdown.
Would have scored a touchdown if they
taken a field goal. And they
needed.
just went on regulation, right? It just
You gave yourself an out by that.
Yeah.
That's what you did.
it's what would have happened. I mean, like,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. Brock Purdy didn't do anything wrong. He had a nice game.
He had a nice game, but
I mean, you those were very tough situations where snap, 2 steps, dude in face. I can't get the 4 yards to convert. I mean, it's just impossible.
you got to.
I
You
understand
got to
you
figure
have
something
to,
out.
but it's
You
also
gotta figure
it's also
something out.
one of the best defenses in the NFL's job to stop, and they did. They disguised those pressures, and man, like dudes were unblocked, just racing through, and it happened
Yeah.
multiple times. So
Yeah.
against what's supposed to be one of the better offensive lines in the NFL.
They made it seem like on the tape that the 49ers offensive line minus Trent Williams isn't that great anymore. I'm like, when did that happen? I like John Feliciano. I think he's really good. They're really good guard. I like their defense, their offensive line, but there was something wrong with it last night, 2 nights ago. It was just, I don't know. But I don't know. Like for me though, like it was 3rd and 4.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make that play.
You have to.
You have to. You move the position. If you don't like the play that's called in the huddle, you called by the OC, do something.
But the thing is, before the snap though, it read right because the linebacker on the left side that ended up blitzing did not look like he was going to blitz. Right? It looked like he was standing in zone. It was like a delayed blitz or whatever, and he just ran through unblocked, and it was right in Brock Purdy's face as soon as he finished his
threw
drop.
that right in the ground.
Like, he couldn't do anything, right? I mean, that's not Brock Purdy. Like, I get...
It's not.
I guess
it's not.
you'd be like,
It's
if
not.
he was Mahomes, he would have done some crazy spin, but he's not Patrick Mahomes, right? So, like, he's not going to do that.
But like I said, and that's the thing when you're looking at and it's unfortunate to compare, like we just said, you don't want to keep comparing everyone, but you're looking at his counterpart on the other side,
That's tough, yeah.
and no matter what the down and distance is, he's going to get the first down. Like that's what makes that muff punt so bad. The defense did exactly what they had to do. Something they couldn't really do was really get him off the field and stop him from moving the ball. They were deep.
Yeah.
And it just, oh man, it's just unfortunate.
Yeah, because that gave him the ball like in the red zone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and before that, they weren't really moving the ball all that well.
Mm-hmm. Kelsey didn't dinking and dunking. He was getting some catches, but he wasn't going far.
No.
No one else was doing really anything. Pacheco was having a decent game, but he did have that fumble.
Yep, he did.
Um,
And that's another guy that doesn't fumble either. So you had CMC and Pacheco both fumble.
and you had a Patrick Mahomes interception. He hasn't thrown an interception in like 7 postseason
Yep,
games,
and that interception,
and it got nothing
nope.
for it.
They couldn't move the ball beyond that. But I mean, it's the Super Bowl, right? You'd expect two good
Yep.
defenses to stop two good offenses, and two good
Mm-hmm.
offenses to take advantage of a good defense making a mistake, and it just Brock Purdy left the field 2 separate times with leads.
That's on his fault though. You don't leave the field.
Well,
You don't
I
leave the
mean,
field.
he had to.
That
Like
you-
he left the field with the lead.
I know, but you can't. You got to think about who's on the
I
other
understand.
side of that ball.
I get that.
I can't leave this field. It's 3 minutes. There's less than 2 minutes left to go in this game. I can't leave this field. I can't give him the ball
So
back.
now, okay, it's 4th and 4.
I have to leave the field.
You have to. Do you kick the field goal or do you Dan Campbell it, and you try to get the 4 yards? And then if you get the 4 yards, then you can just milk the clock down to
Then you
2
can milk the
seconds
clock
and kick the
down.
field goal.
Yeah, it's Patrick. Now I'm playing hindsight's 2020
Yes,
because now I say
go for
you go for the 4th down. You go for the 4th down. But
the only thing is if you don't get it, you're giving them the ball at like the 38 or whatever it was at.
yeah, you are. I don't. They did. I can't say that they didn't do the right thing.
No.
You kicked the field goal.
They got the points.
You kicked the field. My thing is the 3rd down.
Yeah, I mean,
You gotta do
Brock Purdy
something
couldn't
better.
do anything about that. I think it was like snap, turn, dude. Like there's nothing he could do.
Yeah, you're right. That's exactly what it was.
They kick off and then they play this like soft middle of the field, let them dink and dunk
No.
and march their way down.
Didn't he on that drive? They had them at like 3rd and 8. It was like a 3rd and 8, and I was like, please don't all out blitz. Please don't all out blitz. And they all out blitzed, and he threw it over it to get the 1st down. It was the long 3rd down play on that drive, and I'm like, that wasn't good play calling, Steve Wilkes. That right there. All you had to do is stay in the zone that you'd been in. And I understand you want to do pressure, but you also have to know that they're not punting it on 4th down.
Yeah, they're not.
They're not punting it on 4th down. So for them, it's 3 down territory. What do you think you're gonna? It's 4 down territory. What are you gonna do? You blitz them. They picked up the blitz, wide open. Kelsey down the middle for the 1st down. I'm like, don't blitz. Just stay in your formation. Let your front 4 get the pressure. It was getting pressure on him almost all game. First half, he looked untouched in the second half. They did something to the protection. Chase Young couldn't get to him. Nick Bosa couldn't get to him, even though I felt like Nick Bosa was getting held a lot and no one was calling. But
yeah,
they couldn't get to him. They couldn't get to him in that second half.
Yeah. Well,
Now we get a whole year to sit there and stew and think.
I'm not gonna stew. It just is what it is. It was to me. It was I was not invested in the Super Bowl in any way because I didn't care who won, in any way whatsoever. And if San Francisco would have won, I've been like, good for them. And the Kansas City won, like, good for them. That's about all.
I don't hate either team.
No.
So
The,
they're safe bets in my opinion on winning.
the only thing I'm glad I don't live in a state that allows sports gambling. But I wish I did live in a state that allowed sports gambling because
You would have had money on.
I would have had money on what's his name, the wide receiver throwing a touchdown. It was a plus 250,000. Like that's the sort of bet that Derek makes. Like, well, that might hit. I'll put $10 on that. That's why I have no money, right? Like,
Yeah.
it'll hit. Parlay that somehow. Let's find all the stupid parlays that will turn $10 into $10 million.
That's how you get it. My brother had a parlay, a $20 parlay. It had like 7 legs on it, right? I was like, Jesus Christ, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And
There's a point where
and his
you're counterproductive with that many plays.
and his money was lost by halftime.
Yes.
he had he had over 2.5 touchdowns in the first half.
Oh no, yeah.
That's what it was, one TD in the first half.
Yeah, I would have done all those stupid numbers, and that was one of them. The plus 250,000 for what's his face, the
To throw a
former
touchdown.
Tennessee quarterback. Yeah, to throw a touchdown. I can't remember what his name is. And they also scored a touchdown too. He caught a touchdown,
Hmm.
threw a touchdown. I would have bet on stuff like that. Yeah, but then I would have also bet on like Brock Purdy does a head spin on the 50-yard line. Something stupid like that. And then that would have lost my parlay.
Oh, that's I guess I keep telling myself, if I could do sports betting, I'm only betting winners and losers. I don't want to touch parlays. I think it's a gateway. I think it's a gateway. Once you get that first hit of a win, you're stuck, and I don't want that.
So 2 years ago, Super Bowl commercials were all crypto bullshit, right? Celebrities doing crypto nonsense.
Yep.
This
Yep.
year, it was all celebrities doing sportsbook.
Yes.
Like they're the same damn thing. Just one is
But one's gambling that's been around
one's
for a
legalized
while, and the
gambling. It's
other's
been
new
around. The other one
gambling.
was gambling on like non-existent things. Like, oh, I'm going to make money off of the idea of something. No, you're not.
I, I saw Larry David talking about that because he was
Mhm.
the big spokesperson in that one, and it was he was like, yeah, there's a class action lawsuit. Apparently, I'm getting sued because I told people to get it. He's like, I get on that? I lost half my money was in it as well. My paycheck wasn't all cash.
Yeah.
I took so yeah.
Yeah,
But
but yeah, that was the thing, right? It makes me laugh because I was thinking about that same thing. I'm just like, oh, I mean, 2 years ago we had Matt Damon telling us how fortune favors the
oh
bold,
yep,
and well, this year, well, he wasn't doing sports books; he was just doing Dunkin' Donuts
Dunkin'
commercials. Yeah,
Dunkin' Donut
yeah,
commercials. That's crazy because Dunkin' Donuts isn't even in all over the
no,
country.
but it's
So
just,
there are people who's like, I've heard of Dunkin'
yeah,
Donuts.
what is that?
What is this?
It's a very Boston thing. I didn't realize how Boston Dunkin' Donuts was.
I didn't realize how I grew up and it was a New York thing.
Mm.
That was the only donut place we had was Dunkin' Donuts. So I assumed it was a New York thing. And then when I went to Boston, I was like, oh, you guys got Dunkin' Donuts too? They was like, of course we got
Yeah,
Dunkin'
they
Donuts.
want to fight you there on the spot.
I was like, whoa.
Um, yeah, yeah, and Dunkin' Donuts isn't very good.
Whoa, sir.
Well,
Donuts wise? No.
no, the Dunkin' Donuts by me is trash. I can't handle it.
You gotta get I like their coffees.
Mm-hmm.
I get the cold foam cold brew. It's delicious.
All right.
And then I get a sausage, egg, and cheese on a
Oh,
croissant.
okay.
Now, granted, they have not. They've gotten the quality's gotten worse since I've gotten older,
Mm-hmm.
maybe. But I remember them being so buttery and flaky when I was younger, and now they're not as much. And their donuts, they've always been trash. After you've had really good donuts, there's nothing very good about Dunkin' Donuts
The
donuts.
Dunkin' Donuts by me, I have several gripes about it, and I guess we got a moment, and then we'll talk about
Mhm.
too early expectations. So the Dunkin' Donuts by me, one, the donuts they taste like oil, right? The cooking oil, you could taste the cooking
We're
oil,
cooking up.
right? Which is disgusting. So
Mhm.
that's just like that's just like a wherever they don't make the donuts in shop, right? They're made somewhere, and then somebody delivers them to all the local Dunkin' Donuts.
Mm.
So there's that trash. Now this is not specific to this just Dunkin' Donuts, but the Dunkin' Donuts hash browns. I remember them at one
Uh,
point being like the little crispy circle, delicious things.
yeah, they are.
Oh no, they are not, sir. They're like they they taste like wood chips and dirt. They
They're
smell.
seasoned too. They've got a different taste to them. They got like different seasoning to them. They are
No,
delicious.
they are not. Well, that could be a regional problem too. Third, I'm going to tell you this story, and I'm not proud of this story, but you have to realize where I was at when this happened. It was at this. So the place I used to work, but this is pre-COVID. This is like probably 2018. The place I worked at, we always had these weird days or competitions, and one of them was like bring in breakfast things from bringing fast food. It was a fast food breakfast sampling day or whatever. So people were bringing in like egg McMuffins or like taquitos from the gas station. I'm like, well, I'm gonna go through Dunkin' Donuts. So I get through Dunkin' Donuts, and there's 3 cars in front of me, right? So just enough I could pull up to the thing and put in my order. I put in my order, and then I didn't move for 15 minutes. I am not exaggerating when I say I didn't move for 15 minutes because I listened to a whole podcast. And then I moved. And then I moved. And now I'm late for work. And then I moved, and I'm almost there, and I sat for like another 10 or 15 minutes.
I've had that
And I'm
happen.
just like, this is insane. And I would have 100% just pulled out of the lane at any time because I had to get to work, except for there's a brick wall that's like 10 feet tall. I'm like, I can't leave. I'm trapped in the
You're trapped.
drive-thru.
I hate it.
I get up there, and I'm just like, oh man, what's going on? He's like, listen, Chief, I'm doing the best I can. I didn't even say anything. I'm just like, see ya, and I took off. I'm just like, I'm not paying. I sat here for 40 minutes in the drive-thru, and you'd think I would just begrudgingly accept the situation because I already invested this much time. But he was so flippin' rude to me that I just like, sorry, dude, I'm leaving you with $12 worth of breakfast balls or whatever the hell they were at the time. Like, sorry. He's like, no, wait, man. I'm just like, boom. I haven't been back since.
see, that's the thing. You got a different hate for Dunkin' Donuts. And see, the one thing I dislike about it was Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck did a commercial.
Just like Ben Affleck. This guy. Oh. See, now I'm all hung up on it. He's one of those guys that wears too many rings. You know those guys, right? It's like, why do you have a ring on every finger? Why? What's with the 3 gold watches? You don't need them. You run a Dunkin' Donuts. Like, what are you doing? Who are you trying to prove? Or what are you trying to prove? And I knew there's always something shady about that place because it's always him and high school girls that work there.
Oh,
right?
No.
You know his intent. He's some donut groomer, right? That's what he's doing. But man, I pull up there. He's like, "Listen, Chief." I'm just like, one, don't call me Chief. That is like my most hated of all of the
colloquialisms.
Yeah, I don't know your name, but I'm not going to use it even if I did. Sort of statements. I hate that one the most. Man, the moment he said that, I saw red and I was out. So Dunkin' Donuts, they suck.
Oh man, it's not that bad. They're bad. I like Dunkin' Donuts. Always have.
Do we want to do the predictions now, or do we want to save them for next week? We
run on time, so yeah, we can save them. Give us something to talk about when the season's officially over.
Because we had touchdowns and we had tangents. We never even introduced ourselves. We were talking about Jerry Rice to begin. It's the ultimate in podcasts.
Yes, and I am Harland.
I'm Derek.
And I guess this is us ending it.
Oh, well, we're gonna end it. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
I don't have anything else to talk about. I got Dunkin' Donuts rage right now, and the kids are like, "Can we get Dunkin'?" I'm like, "No, I'll go to the gas station. You'll have gas station. You'll get those little chocolate frosted donuts that come in a bag from Hostess."
Oh no, not those.
Yep,
not those.
No Dunkin' Donuts. I'll drive 3 towns over to that Dunkin' Donuts before I get to this Dunkin' Donuts. The one that's 2 minutes from my house. Nope.
Man, I'm glad I don't have one 2 minutes from my house. I need it.
Yeah, I understand. And they use the app too. The app's everything's so expensive, but if you use the app, you'll save 15%. I'm like, oh, so it's almost what it used to cost. All right. Well, I guess I'm Derek. I'm done.
Yep. You got him on his Dunkin' rage.
Yep.
Which they know that their donuts aren't very good. They're just going to Dunkin'. They're not going. They're no longer Dunkin' Donuts.
I know.
Yeah, they're just Dunkin' because they know their donuts is trash.
Yes. Who else did that?
It's just about the coffee.
Who else did that? There was somebody else that did that though. Did KFC drop the chicken from their name?
No, that's the whole thing was KFC, but there was, who was it? Like, we do other things. We don't just do donuts, or who was it? I can't think of it, but yes, there was another people that dropped what they were famous for off of it
because it makes so much sense. Yes. All right. Well, screw you, Dunkin' Donuts.
Don't screw Dunkin' Donuts.
Yep, the
Don't screw
whole
Dun-
entity.
Oh,
No, just that.
I like you
Just the
donuts. I
New
like you
Berlin,
Dunkin' Donuts.
Wisconsin Dunkin' Donuts. So if you hear this Dunkin' Donuts, that's when you need to smite. All right.
All right.